Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm back with another lesson. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKvadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, teaching his word in truth and sincerity. Right? So, big news, right? Iran gets attacked by the U.S. And, Iran does retaliation strikes on different U.S. bases in the region, right? So, hey, this is what is going to start that Armageddon. This is what's going to start War 3, at the end of all wars, man. And it's prophesied in the scriptures. And this is exciting times to be in, man. Exciting times to see these nations start to go against each other, because we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this for a long period of time. And we're not saying this is the very, very end, but we know that all these different skirmishes and wars are going to lead up to that ultimate war, right? So Iran is mentioned in Ezekiel 38 as one of those kingdoms that's going to be with Russia to go against Babylon the Great, to go against the small hats. So, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing these different wars start to brew up in Babylon the Great. And we understand that these different countries, these different kingdoms are very important for that prophecy to be fulfilled. Right. So I'm going to play this clip of this video of what's going down. And I'm going to get a few scriptures and, Lord willing, is edifying.
We join you right now with breaking news from the Middle East. Israel has launched preemptive airstrikes against the Islamic Republic of Iran, going after a variety of positions inside the country. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz declaring a special state of emergency across the country. Just moments ago, air raid sirens were sounding here in Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv and across major population centers here in the Middle East, warning civilians to stay close to protected areas, to bomb shelters, understanding that in the minutes and hours ahead, Israel may come under direct Iranian attack. We are getting a new statement from Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz. He says, in part, the state of Israel has launched a preemptive strike against Iran. Defense Minister Israel Katz declares a special and immediate state of emergency across the entire country. The state of Israel has launched a preemptive strike against Iran to remove threats to the state of Israel. As a result, a missile and UAV drone attack is expected against the state of Israel and its civilian population in the immediate time frame. Remember, there has been an ongoing U.S. military buildup across the region for the past 2 months. The world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, is now just off the coast of Israel, near to the northern city of Haifa. You have the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group in the Arabian Sea, a variety of U.S. destroyers in locations across the region, and of course U.S. fighter jets not only here in Israel but also in places like Jordan. You heard just last night President Trump talking about what he prefers, a peaceful and diplomatic path that was offered to the Iranians, understanding, though, that they have been incredibly difficult in the past to reach agreements with. And while the president sent his negotiators to the region, to Oman, and then ultimately to Geneva, Switzerland over the past month, both U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, ultimately the coordination was happening at the highest level, we understand, between the Americans and the Israelis if a decision was made to launch such a strike. And so we are waiting to get additional information from Israeli and American sources to determine what exactly has taken place. But I'm going to give you all of the updates that we are getting in right now as we receive them. We understand, according to the Transportation Minister of Israel, that Israel has now closed its airspace to civilian flights. Again, this is a precaution, understanding that the Israelis now are bracing for a variety of incoming possible ballistic missile and UAV attacks against their country. Remember, we were reporting here live during the 12-day war last June as the Israelis and the Iranians exchanged blows. And the Iranians have the ability to launch ballistic missiles. They take about 12 minutes to get to Israel, and they can cause significant damage to major population centers here. We also know that Israel has a variety of air defense systems at its ability, and some of those include the short-range systems, the Iron Dome system, the Arrow system, and also David's Sling. You also have Patriot missile defense systems and THAAD systems provided by the Americans that were deployed here in preparation for the possibility that a decision was made to strike Iran, understanding that there will be a response, as we saw over not just during the 12-day war, but also when the Israelis and the Iranians in 2024 exchanged blows 2 separate times in the spring of that year and also in October of that year. Again, if you are just joining us right now, we are reporting live from the Middle East, where Israel has made a decision to launch preemptive airstrikes against Iran amid the backdrop of a massive U.S. military buildup across the region. A special state of emergency has been declared across Israel. Israel's Defense Minister, Israel Katz, is urging all civilians to head to bomb shelters immediately.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Right, so we know the scriptures talk about how the least of the flock shall draw them out, right? And we know that Israel is pretty much, they're pretty much calling the shots, So we understand that this is going to lead up to the big war. This is going to lead up to the big war. We're allies with the small hats, so if they want to go to war, we're going to be right alongside with them. So let me get a few scriptures. Right. Start off with Revelations 11 and 14. This is Revelations 11 and 14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a accumulation of different skirmishes that are gonna eventually cause World War III. The second woe already has passed. Around what was that, the 1940s. Now we got the third world woe coming, and it's coming quickly, So our salvation is drawing nigh. The more these countries fall out with each other, the more there's war, there's division, the more the kingdom of heaven is getting ready to come upon the earth, right? So this is why we have to be watchmen into the house of Israel. We have to be vigilant in looking at these things that are happening, not only in, Babylon the Great, but also out in the Middle East, because we know that great war is going to be over there, right? Let's go to Matthew 24. This is Matthew 24, and I'm going to start at 1. "And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the building of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Right? So it says that there will be wars and rumors of wars. Right? So that's exactly what we're seeing these times now. We're seeing wars and rumors of wars. We're actually seeing bombs falling, man. And this is beautiful because we understand that this war is going to be fought with burning and fuel of fire, as it states in Isaiah 9 and 5. Let me just read it real quick. It's Isaiah 9 and 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire," right? Because they have nuclear capacity. They have weapons, bombs, right? So we know that this is how this war is going to be fought. Other wars, they weren't fought like how these wars are going to be fought, or the last wars are going to be fought, right? Because we have technology, we have an advancement in military, right? So we have these different weapons that are used in today's time, and they can burn you the hell up, man, right? So that's what we're seeing in today's time. Let's go to it's another scripture that says one realm against another. Let me get that real quick. This is 2 Esdras 13 and 31. It says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another, right? So we're seeing this, we know it's going to be civil war, within these different places. We know it's going to be uprisings and seditions amongst, Babylon the Great in these different places, right? It says that it would be a state of perplexity, right, within these different nations, right? Babylon the Great, where the people are not going to know what to do based off of the situation they're in, right? So he says one place against another, one people against another, right? So that's also talking about these world wars with these countries fighting against other countries, right? These empires fighting against other empires, people, one people fighting against another people, right? You have the Iranians versus the small hats, I would say, right? So that's a rumor. That's one people fighting against another. Those are those wars that are spoke about in the scriptures, right? And we understand these are the last days wars, right? The Lord allowed Esau, Edom to make the ultimate weapon, all right? And that's going to be used. It's going to be used to destroy him. The scriptures talk about he that diggeth a pit, he shall fall therein. Right? So Esau, he's been able to catapult himself as a superpower because of his military, right? Not only that, but the way he goes and robs, steals, and kills, right? But that same weapon that he's used to catapult himself to a superpower, to be that bully in the earth, right? Where the people say, who can make war with the beast, right? That same weapon is going to be used against him, right? So we're seeing the build up to this last war, right? Let's go to Joel. This is Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all the nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink, right? So we know the Lord is going to cause these nations to go to war because of what these nations did to Israel. And we understand that all these different nations had a hand in our captivity, right? We've been in captivity under all these different nations. So the Lord is gathering these nations round about to cause war to happen, so they can blow each other up. I'm going to skip down to 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Right? So, Babylon the Great, America doesn't want Iran to get nuclear weapons. Right? So, they're constantly trying to monitor these people to see if they have weapons or not, because they know if they get weapons, it's going to be a bad thing. Right? But now you have Iran being backed by China and Russia. Right? So, we know that they have enough weapons to lend out to Iran, and they have the right materials to give Iran to create those weapons that America doesn't want them to have, right? It says, be your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say I'm strong, right? So now you see these different nations that America didn't really have to worry about. Now they're starting to have to worry about them. They've been so worried about Iran getting a nuclear weapon, right? And it's because they want to keep everybody under their belt so they can have control over everybody. But in the last days, people are going to start being fed up, which they are now. They're being fed up. They're seeing the agendas of these people, and they're fighting back. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decisions." Right? Right. So we understand that this kingdom currently is reaching that pinnacle of wickedness. And this is why the Lord is starting to gather up these nations to fight. Right? Because we know that after wickedness reaches a certain pinnacle, the Lord is going to destroy this place. Right? So he says that he's not going to hold back in touching their wickedness. Right? So the Lord has allowed these nations to do what they're going to do. He's allowed America to do what they've been doing, which is wickedness. You've seen the Epstein files come out. Right? Nobody's worrying about that. But we are somehow on this moral ground where we can tell other people what to do. But we can't even get right within our own kingdom, right? There's a whole bunch of hypocrites, man. Right? And that's why the Lord is going to throw this kingdom down. It says, multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, right? So we understand that this is the the last war. It's brewing up. Lord willingly, this gets to the last level. We know we still have other prophecies that have to play out, but not too many, right? You have the MOTB, and now we have a way for a certain psyop missions to go out, right? To blame the other nations, because we know how Babylon gets. It's a kingdom full of deception, right? So they'll say, oh, these people over here, they didn't did this, so we got to go over here and do this, or whatever, order out of chaos, right? Using this time right here. What's the saying? Never let a tragedy go to waste. And it's roughly paraphrasing, right? Using this situation to further their agenda, right? Further the image of the beast, further them enslaving the population, right? Fear mongering them into doing certain things so that their agenda is passed, right? So, we seen Israel, right? What they did. We see the retaliation from Iran. And we know America, Babylon the Great is going to be involved. We know that we know that China, we know that Russia, we know that all these different other nations are going to be involved, according to Ezekiel 38. So we're just watching, and we're warning our people that the end is nigh, right? So we got to get ready, stay prayed up, and we're gonna watch this thing play out, right? So with that, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKakwadash. Until next time, Lord willingly, Shalom.